Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. Tesla has just surprised the whole car industry with their price cuts. But some people mistakenly think this is out of a demand problem. But Tesla reducing prices is an offensive move, not a defensive one. Because Tesla is cutting prices so much that no one can really copy it without losing a lot of money. This is not just to get a bigger addressable market, but they will, because then they would usually drop the prices slower to see when demand picks up. But Tesla dropped the prices from 6 to 20%, and as I made a video about a couple of days ago, Tesla will probably still have about 20% gross margin on their automotive business because of all the things they have going on. If you haven't seen that video already, you should probably check that one out first. But at the same time, no one else is making money on EVs, they are losing money. Maybe except BYD having a tiny bit of profits. Both Volkswagen and Ford have said this themselves, so they can't just lower the price $10,000 because that means they will lose $10,000 more on their EVs they sell. And at the same time, they want to scale up production of their EVs, so this is not a good timing for them. But as I will show in this video, they are no longer competition to Tesla if they don't drop their prices. So Tesla just started a price war where the others don't even have a weapon to fire. This war is already over. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So, with this move of cutting the prices by this much, they don't just shook the whole car industry, but also increased their addressable market by a crazy amount. Tesla's addressable market just for the Model Y just went up from maybe 5% to 15%. According to the ARK Invest model here, tripling their addressable market. And the cheapest Tesla Model 3 is now in the range of 20 to 25% of the entire addressable market in the US. So no, Tesla did not have to come out with a new model to get into a bigger market. They just cut the prices and tripled and quadrupled their addressable market, and by doing so, catching the car industry by surprise. But remember, the average car price in the US in 2022 was $49,500, so many of Tesla's cars are actually below this average selling price in the US. But a Tesla is not an average car. But this is making the Tesla suddenly a competitor not just to the EVs but against the ICE cars. And I also think this is a big blow to the used ICE car market as well, speeding up the EV adoption even faster as Tesla is forcing everyone else to follow them. And this is a good thing for the EV revolution, as a Danish motorist organization has also been out saying. And this will also lower the prices of the used car market, which have skyrocketed over the last couple of years. Because just think about it, EV adoption is growing exponentially right now. Here in Europe, most people want an EV. We are going from the early adopters to the early majority here. So tell me, who in their rightful mind would buy something like this? This is a used BMW X3 you can buy here in my country. It's a diesel version that does a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 9.7 seconds. It has already been driven 128,000 kilometers and only have 550 liters of trunk, and this is what it looks like inside. A real modern BlackBerry, right? But this used thing here cost about $15,000 more than a brand spanking new Model Y standard range that is quicker from 0 to 100 kilometers and have 200 liters more of cargo space and look like this inside. Who in their rightful mind would choose this polluting old used diesel car, which value is now going to drop out of the sky, and BMWs are some of the most expensive cars on the market to maintain as well, over this brand spanking new Tesla Model Y made in Germany that is one of the cheapest cars to maintain on the market. And yes, it does of course get even worse if we look at the BMW X3 from new. Its starting price is about $55,000 more expensive than the Tesla Model Y. You could get the Model 3 standard range and the Model Y standard range for the same price of this new diesel car. Are you kidding me? You have to be mentally insane to buy this over a Tesla that doesn't pollute the air around you and your children and is much safer and is fully charged every morning you wake up. You don't have to go to the filling station anymore except when you're on a road trip. And that is the starting price. You can of course choose the best version of the X3. But then you can get a performance Model Y and a performance Model 3 at the same time for the same price as this one diesel car. This is insane to take this much for an outdated technology. It would be like if a Nokia costed more than an iPhone. So if the German automakers were not in big trouble in Europe, China and the US already, Tesla just made a knockout blow here. Not just against the EVs, but against their new and used ICE cars, especially from the premium brands. Because here, the EVs are no longer the more expensive choice. And when it comes to EVs, Tesla just made their cars the most obvious choice. Because if we compare the Model Y in my country, here in Europe, with the ID.4, the ID.4 now has a more expensive starting price than the Tesla Model Y. The ID.4 Active does have a bit more range, but remember, Volkswagen is now removing the heat pump from the ID.4s. So in the winter, I will bet you that the Model Y will have a real-world longer range than the ID.4 Active. But other than the range, the ID.4 falls short on every metric you can choose. If you like acceleration, well, never get an ID.4 or any Volkswagen EV for that matter. As you can see here, it does a 0 to 100 kilometers in 10.4 seconds. Boring. I can bike faster than that. Even if you get the ID.4 GTX version, their performance version, only just beats Tesla's slowest car, as it can do a 0 to 100 kilometers in 6.3 seconds. And when it comes to the cargo space, there is not even a competition here, as the trunk is much smaller on the ID.4 and every German EV does not have a trunk. So you will get about twice the amount of cargo space. And the ID.4 charges slower, can tow less, and weighs more. And then don't forget all the buggy software and the bad app on your phone you will get with the ID.4, where you will get some of the best software and car app on the market with a Tesla. That gets better all the time. And the Tesla has a very good enhanced autopilot. And if you live in the US, you can even get the Tesla beta software. There is no longer a competition between these two EVs. It is just a slaughter. And the long-range ID.3 is the same price as a long-range Tesla Model 3, and these two cars can hardly be compared. Who would ever choose an ID.3 over a Tesla Model 3 when they have the same price? And Tesla just cut the legs of BYD here in Europe as well, as the BYD Hans starting price is now more than $34,000 more expensive than the Tesla Model 3. That decision does not even require thinking. Did Tesla just kill BYD chances here in Europe for 2023 at least? I think so. I don't think they have a counter move until they get their own factory up and running here in Europe. And not sure when that will be, but they are planning for it. But this trend is pretty much the same no matter if you look at the Hyundai Ioniq 5 or the Kia EV6. They are now the same price as a Tesla. But we don't just have to look at Europe, we can look at the US as well. The Ford Mach-E GT version against the Tesla Model Y Performance. Well, the Tesla Model Y Performance is now $57,000 and the Mach-E GT is almost $70,000. And it loses on every spec you want to look at. And the Model Y long range and every Tesla Model 3 versions all qualify for the US EV tax credit of $7,500, meaning that all Tesla Model 3s and Y long range cost less than the US average selling price of 2022. Tesla has just set themselves up to continue to absolutely dominate the US market. And in China, the prices of the Tesla Model 3 and the BYD Han is now both around $34,000. So here Tesla is no longer the expensive choice over BYD. They are now the same price. So Tesla just made their EVs the obvious choice if you're looking for an EV. And you can see customers reacting as inventory in the US is falling off a cliff, and Tesla is seeing an unprecedented demand, as persons familiar with the matter have said. And as we can see, the same thing is happening in China. And I have already heard about a handful of people I know saying they will go look at a Tesla now. So this is all very good for Tesla and the EV revolution, but not so good for the old guys, as they are selling all the EVs they are able to make, so they don't really need to lower their prices. And Hyundai CEO in the UK has been out saying they will not follow Tesla's price crush just yet. Well, good luck with that. But it is even worse for the legacy automakers than some might think. They still think it is all just about a new powertrain. That is just so scary that CEOs steering these huge companies doesn't really seem to understand what is going on, just as we saw with Nokia back in the days. So while Tesla is lowering their prices a lot because they're making a lot of money on EVs, someone like BMW, as I showed, even their old used ICE cars is much more expensive now than a Tesla, but BMW is losing money on their EVs. But now they want to spend even more money on making a whole new powertrain, hydrogen. Even though Mercedes, also in Germany, after 30 years of research came to the conclusion that that technology is simply too expensive for a passenger car. So now BMW will waste a lot of money they don't have on a car that nobody wants, as we can see on the hydrogen sales figures through the years. And that hydrogen car will always be more expensive than an EV and the ICE car, and also be about 3 times more expensive to fill up. No one will buy this hydrogen car. Just as we can see now, we have hydrogen cars, but nobody's really buying them. And BMW is not getting the whole software part of the game either. Former CEO of Volkswagen, Herbert Diess, did get it. As he said, in the future, the biggest differentiator will be software. Studies has shown that in 2030, the expectation is that 50% of the cost of a car will be software. But BMW CEO doesn't get this, and that is a big problem for BMW. As Sipsa said, he does not see his company's business threatened by tech companies pushing into the car industry, and said, a car is not an iPhone on wheels. Oh my God, he's going to kill BMW. No, a BMW is not a smartphone on wheels. And that's the problem, Sipsa. As we just saw last week, they could not fix a software issue with their i7 and iX3 and so on with an over-the-air software update here in 2023. So they had to make a recall to make a software update. So yes, that is just a car with a new powertrain, sure, but a Tesla is a smartphone on wheels. And I think in a very short time, people will not be looking at a BMW that cannot make a software update over the air as a premium car anymore. I'm already there. I will never again get a car that cannot make an over-the-air update and get me new features down the road, like I would never get a smartphone that couldn't be updated to get new software and new apps. It's just unthinkable. Just as my Model Y Performance got track mode with the holiday update, suddenly my nice family car just turned into a real track king on the racetrack, or just to have some good fun on a big empty parking lot. You will never be able to do that with your iX3 or your i7. They are, as BMW CEO said, just a car with a new powertrain. This is a problem for the old guys, with their ICE business falling out of the sky, and that would only speed up. And at the same time, Tesla undercut someone like BMW's iX3. That is a very comparable EV to the Model Y, but it is as much as $25,000 more expensive now. Or if we take their performance version, or BMW's top of the line, since they don't really have performance versions, as they can only do a 0 to 100 kilometers in 6.8 seconds. But you will be able to get this beast of a car that has much more cargo space and get over-the-air update all the time, and up and beyond more fun to drive and much safer for about $20,000 less in my country now. So who is going to buy the BMW iX3 over the Model Y? Or their ICE versions for that matter, that is even more expensive, and even the used one that are still more expensive now than Tesla Model Y. BMW should be shaking in their boots. But I don't even think they understand what is happening, as they don't understand that some cars are already, and soon everyone will become, a smartphone on wheels. If not, you are just making Nokias, Blackberries, Motorolas, and are not part of the new kind of smart car revolution. So that is why I think this price cut is such a devastating stab to the old guys, especially someone like BMW, which is still about only 9% BEVs. So 91% of their business will really start to drop off a cliff in 2023. And their EVs are not smartphones on wheels.
When you wake up, you'll step into an even better and more capable Tesla.
So soon customers will really start to realize how big a difference there is between a Tesla and a BMW. The Nokia against the iPhone. And at the same time, BMW wants to waste billions of dollars on hydrogen, which at least someone like Volkswagen, Mercedes, Audi, GM, Ford is not doing. And these hydrogen cars that they say they will come with will be even more expensive than the ICE and the EVs that are already more expensive than a Tesla. That will beat them on every single spec. Not good news for someone like BMW. And if you want an EV now, Tesla will be able to give you a Model Y here in Europe within 2 months. And most other automakers have 6 to 12 month waiting list. Or here in my country, you can't even order a Kia EV6 right now. They're sold out. Just that fact alone will make people shift over to a Tesla. Yeah, everyone thought they were catching up to Tesla, even though Tesla pulled further away in 2022. Only BYD was able to gain on Tesla in units. But now Tesla just changed the whole game, making price cuts so big that no one can follow them, catching the industry off guard, and making the entire world talk about it. Sure, CNBC and Yahoo Finance will spin some negative stories on this, but this doesn't matter. There is hardly a soul in the entire world that right now does not know that Tesla has just made a huge discount on their cars, and that is all without a single dollar spent on advertising. But if we also look at how many million views Tesla gets on Twitter in the US alone over the competition, then we can see that Twitter is Tesla's secret advertising platform. But not so much for the old automakers. If the others want to follow and make some discount now, they also have to spend millions of dollars on advertising to make sure that people actually know about it. But not Tesla. The whole world already knows. So just sit back, relax, and watch this play out. I will bet you that even with the recession coming, Tesla will have their best year ever, both when it comes to unit sales, but also how profitable Tesla will become. And most people will wake up and see what is going on with all the profits coming from their storage business and software business and so on, pushing up the stock to maybe even new highs here in 2023, because Tesla's rise will look even more scary as the old guys continue to fall even faster, which will stand in very sharp contrast to Tesla's rise.
Whether Tesla is ever hugely successful or not, I'll always owe them a debt of gratitude for having kind of broken the ice.
And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.